18-year-old boy still struggling to cope with his mother's death encounters a woman who bears a striking resemblance to her. This encounter transforms his life forever. But is it simply an emotional reaction or something deeper? And when that woman, Kate, begins to grow closer to him, is it genuine affection or merely a deception? This is a tale of passion, obsession, and concealed realities that will grip you until the very end. The story begins with a young man named Helm, who has been battling isolation and despair ever since the loss of his mother. She drowned in a nearby lake 2 years earlier, but Helm has always harbored suspicions that his stepmother played a role in her death. He believes his father helped hide the crime, especially since he married his secretary, now Helm's stepmother, shortly afterward. Helm never had a good relationship with his father and refused to live under the same roof as him and his stepmother. Instead, he spent most of his time in solitude in a treehouse nestled deep in the woods near their home. Over time, he developed a habit of watching visitors to the forest through binoculars, recording everything in his journal. His diary was filled not only with surveillance notes but also with his innermost thoughts and feelings. One day, his stepmother comes across his diary. She finds detailed descriptions of the people Helm had been observing, along with unexpected compliments about her looks. Shocked but intrigued, she confronts Helm in his treehouse and seduces him. Helm, unable to resist, gives in, leading to a secret relationship. However, soon after, his stepmother turns against him, using their affair to manipulate and blackmail him so that he won't turn his father against her. She forces him to leave town. Now stranded in an unfamiliar city with no money, shelter, or food, Helm is forced to spend the night starving on the rooftop of a random building. The next morning, while roaming the streets, Helm spots a woman named Kate, who looks uncannily like his late mother. For a moment, he believes she might actually be her. Compelled by this uncanny resemblance, he begins following her and sees her enter a hotel. Upon learning that she's the hotel manager, Helm approaches her and inquires about any job openings. After asking a few questions, Kate offers him a position in the hotel's kitchen. Desperate for a source of income, Helm gladly accepts and begins working diligently. He finds himself gradually enjoying the work, but his fixation on Kate only intensifies. After his shift, he starts secretly tailing her, observing her daily activities, noting where she goes and what she does, even discovering where she lives. He watches from afar, mesmerized by her every action. One day, when Kate is away from work, Helm sneaks into her house. Looking out the window, he notices a clock tower in the distance. Realizing it offers a clear view of Kate's home, he decides to relocate there. That night, he quietly sets up a makeshift residence inside the abandoned clock tower, a place no one visits. From there, he continues spying on Kate, watching her every night through binoculars, seeing her dance, work, and live, unaware of his presence. One evening, Helm sees someone arrive at Kate's home, her senior colleague from the hotel. The two seem to enjoy each other's company, laughing and getting close, which deeply unsettles Helm. Later, as Helm climbs the stairs of the clock tower, he is intercepted by the same senior colleague, who angrily tells him that only senior staff are permitted upstairs and that Helm has no reason to be there. While back at work in the kitchen, Kate approaches him and asks how he's adjusting to the job. Helm responds that he enjoys it, which pleases her. That night, Helm sneaks onto Kate's rooftop again and watches through the skylight. To his dismay, he sees Kate once again with the same senior colleague. While eavesdropping on their conversation, Helm learns a shocking detail. The man is married with 2 kids, meaning Kate is involved in an affair. The revelation disturbs Helm deeply, and he returns to the clock tower, emotionally shaken. Watching Kate and her colleague together triggers memories of Helm's past. He begins connecting the dots, convinced that his father and stepmother had been having an affair long before his mother died. He imagines that when his mother discovered their relationship and confronted her, she was killed. Now, Helm strongly believes his father and stepmother conspired to murder his mother. Determined to uncover the truth, Helm goes to the police station and files a report accusing his stepmother of killing his mother. He tells the officer that his father never supported him and likely helped conceal the crime. The next day, Kate calls Helm into her office and offers him a promotion to a front desk position. Helm accepts and soon finds himself enjoying his new responsibilities. He even makes a friend. However, Helm's obsession with Kate doesn't diminish. One evening, while observing her from the clock tower, he is discovered. His senior, the same man having an affair with Kate, spots him spying. Realizing what Helm has been doing, the senior becomes enraged. He threatens Helm, saying he will report him to the authorities and get him dismissed from the hotel. But Helm doesn't back down. Instead, he flips the situation, revealing that he knows all about the man's affair with Kate. Armed with this information, Helm tries to blackmail him. The senior, now unwilling to escalate the situation, agrees not to fire Helm, and they both decide to keep each other's secrets quiet. The next day at work, Kate approaches Helm and wishes him a happy birthday. He has just turned 19. His coworker overhears and immediately insists they throw a party. Kate also encourages him to celebrate, and they plan to go out to a bar that night. Later that evening, Helm, his coworker, and Kate head to the bar and start drinking. Helm's friend has a bit too much and leaves early, but Helm and Kate stay behind, continuing to talk and drink late into the night. When it gets too late, Kate invites Helm over to her place. Still tipsy, Kate gets close to Helm, trying to initiate something, but he hesitates. They ultimately decide just to sleep. As Helm lies beside Kate, he reflects on the surreal moment. The woman he once secretly watched is now right next to him, making him feel strangely at peace. The next day at work, Helm gathers the courage to ask Kate out. However, she declines, telling him to forget about the previous night. She had been drunk. Disappointed, Helm walks away quietly. A few hours later, Helm is called to a hotel room. When he arrives, he finds Kate waiting for him. This time, she initiates intimacy, and the two grow closer. Helm begins to enjoy his time with Kate, and she also appears happy with him. One night, Helm climbs onto Kate's rooftop, hoping to catch a glimpse of her. To his surprise, he sees her in a heated argument with his senior, who is yelling furiously and even attempts to strike her. Outraged, Helm quickly removes the window panes and leaps inside to protect her. He grabs the senior, trying to restrain him, but the man fights back and hits Helm. Turning to Kate with a smug grin, the senior reveals Helm's secret. "This guy has been watching you from the clock tower every single night." Kate is stunned. First, she tells the senior to leave, but once he's gone, she turns to Helm, her face filled with shock and anger. "Have you been spying on me? Since when?" she demands. Knowing he can't lie, Helm confesses, "Since the first time I saw you, but there's a reason." Still furious, Kate refuses to listen. Without another word, she fires him and asks him to leave. The next day, as Kate returns from work, she finds Helm sitting outside the hotel looking completely lost. A wave of sympathy washes over her, and despite everything, she invites him into her home. Once inside, she finally asks, "Tell me, why were you watching me?" Helm takes a deep breath and begins his story. "My mother died 2 years ago. She meant everything to me, and I never truly recovered from her loss." He explains how his father remarried shortly after, but he could never accept his stepmother. Feeling like an outsider in his own house, he chose to live alone in a treehouse in the woods, where he developed the habit of watching people through binoculars. Over time, it became second nature. "When I came to this city, Kate, I saw you," he says. He reveals that Kate resembled his late mother, and watching her brought back memories of the woman he had lost. That's why he kept watching. Hearing this, Kate is taken aback, and a deep sense of compassion fills her heart. Wanting to comfort him, she puts on a dress that once belonged to Helm's mother, one he had kept with him. When he sees her in it, emotions overwhelm him, and he breaks down in tears. Kate holds him gently, offering quiet comfort. The next day, Helm is surprised to learn that his parents have come looking for him. They tracked him down through the police station after he filed a complaint against his stepmother. However, due to a lack of evidence, no legal action was taken. His father explains they're facing financial difficulties and need to sell some property. To do that, they need Helm's signature on a will his mother left in his name. Helm immediately becomes suspicious, certain that his stepmother is behind this request. He refuses to sign anything. Enraged by his refusal, his stepmother hurls insults at him before leaving with his father. That night, Helm lies awake, haunted by his stepmother's words. How she had once told him that his mother's death was an accident and that he needed to move on. The more he thinks about it, the more his anger festers until it becomes unbearable. The next day, consumed by rage and grief, Helm boards a train and returns home. He quietly enters the house, approaches his stepmother, and forcefully gags and ties her up. Without hesitation, he takes her to the lake and throws her into the water. She struggles, gasping for air, and just as she begins to drown, Helm has a sudden realization. He's making a terrible mistake. He pulls her out immediately and apologizes. His stepmother, shaken but unharmed, leaves without a word. At that moment, Helm's father arrives and finally reveals the truth. Helm's mother had long suffered from depression and had taken her own life. Hearing this, Helm is filled with guilt. He realizes just how wrong he had been all this time. With tears in his eyes, he apologizes to his father. After making peace with the past, Helm boards a train back to Kate. However, when he arrives, Kate refuses to see him. "My relationships have never worked out," she tells him. "Right now, I don't want to be with anyone." She looks at him and says, "You're still young. If you really want to be with me, come back in a few years." With that, she sends Helm away. As he walks down the street, a faint smile appears on his face. Deep down, he knows that one day, he'll return to Kate. And with that, the movie comes to an end. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. See you in the next video. Until then, take care and goodbye. This film is a haunting yet deeply emotional exploration of grief, obsession, and the desperate need for connection. At its core, it's a psychological coming-of-age drama that follows Helm, a vulnerable and broken young man, on his journey through pain, misunderstanding, and the search for love and truth. His character is not merely mourning the loss of his mother, but is also entangled in unresolved trauma, family betrayal, and emotional isolation. The decisions he makes throughout the film, some disturbing, others deeply human, reveal the fragile mental state of someone who was never given the tools to process profound loss. The film raises important questions about what happens when grief festers unchecked, how reality and delusion can become intertwined, and how unresolved trauma can shape one's perception of the world. Helm's obsession with Kate, who physically resembles his mother, symbolizes his longing for closure, maternal affection, and emotional security. But as his fixation grows, it blurs the lines between comfort and compulsion, ultimately leading him to dangerous extremes. At the same time, the character of Kate embodies the complexities of adult relationships and emotional boundaries. Her own flaws, her affair, her indecisiveness, and her eventual compassion highlight the gray areas in human behavior. She is not portrayed as a villain or a savior, but as a realistic, multidimensional woman caught in a situation she doesn't fully understand until it's too late. The film also touches on deeper societal themes such as mental health, emotional neglect, and the lasting scars of family dysfunction. Helm's inability to trust, to let go of the past, and to separate fantasy from reality is not portrayed as a moral failing, but as a tragic result of emotional abandonment and unresolved trauma. His journey is a painful yet necessary unraveling, leading him towards self-realization, regret, and, ultimately, the possibility of healing. Visually and narratively, the film creates a melancholic, almost dreamlike atmosphere that mirrors Helm's unstable inner world. The recurring imagery of the clock tower, the lake, and the treehouse adds layers of symbolism about time, memory, and lost innocence. These elements deepen the emotional impact and reinforce the theme of being trapped in the past while yearning for something or someone who can offer redemption. In the end, This film is not about perfect resolutions or happy endings. It's about facing the darkest parts of ourselves, understanding the impact of our choices, and learning that healing doesn't come from escaping the past but from confronting it. Helm's story is both tragic and hopeful, showing that even when we've gone too far, redemption is still possible, if we're brave enough to seek it. This film lingers long after the credits roll, not because of spectacle or plot twists, but because of its emotional truth. It's a deeply human story, raw and imperfect, reminding us that sometimes the greatest battle we fight is the one within ourselves.